Favor? Any opposed? One abstention. I know this one's well. Okay. Communications, Police Department, Chief, got anything for us?
We're able to obtain a state DOT grant to get a virtual message board / radar unit that, as I said at the department head meeting today, if anyone has events, it's programmable so we can put messages on there in addition to radar and everything. We put messages of Apple Festival, road closed, things
Excellent.
like that. So, and it's totally reimbursable 100% by the state.
Wonderful. Finally, some good news from the state. Anything else, Chief, or does that complete your presentation?
That's it.
Any questions for the Chief? This is one that's on a trailer or something you put on the side of the road, this sign? Yeah, very neat. That's great. That's good news. Okay, bulky waste transfer station.
Yeah, no major updates there. Last week, 400 plus cars on that Saturday, so it was a fairly quiet day. Just one thing to mention, the batteries that we collect, we were told by the company that hauls them away, this is statewide, we're seeing this. The lithium batteries, for them to take those away, they need to be taped. So the ends of those need to be taped off, put in a barrel separately, and then they would haul them away. So our staff went through what we have, pulled all those out, got those in a barrel. So it's just something we got to think of going forward. If we're getting a huge amount of lithium batteries, you know, it's a lot of work to go through all those, start taking those off. So
Are we talking all sizes?
for lithium, any lithium battery.
So if like a AAA or AA
No,
lithium, or
Yeah, any lithium. The ends need to be.
well, you guys gotta go into the dumpsters and pull those out?
Yeah, they can see which ones are there. It's not an issue yet, but it may be down the road.
Is that the electronic box?
Yeah.
So it's not gonna dump the residents that drop
Oh,
box out?
perfect, yeah.
So maybe some literature?
Oh, yeah, they're not going into it.
Oh, okay, okay.
Some literature?
Yeah, we'll get
Maybe a
a,
sign.
so. Other than that, nothing to update on, bulky waste.
Okay, any questions for Mr. LaPre? Highway and Parks?
Excuse me?
Yeah, sure, go right ahead, Chuck.
So a resident raised their hand, but there's public
Oh,
communication.
yeah, sorry, I didn't see that. Sorry, folks, there'll be an opportunity for public communication during that section on the agenda, so you'll certainly be able to speak about anything you'd like when you come up then. Okay? Great. Go ahead.
Next item you have is plowing update, so, obviously we've been pretty busy this year. Nothing huge in storm effects, but we've had quite a few. This past Monday was the 11th event that we had in town where we had to treat roads and plow, when needed, so, even though, and I told this to Alex too, as well as at the department meeting, even though we haven't received a huge storm, our staff has been out there pre-treating, making sure roads are safe. Tomorrow, we're having another one. Over the weekend, it looks like Saturday night, Sunday is another event, and then next week's looking active too. So we're keeping up with things, but it has been pretty active, even though there haven't been huge events. So other stuff to mention.
Just real quick, Dave, about the plowing. I don't know if anyone has any other questions. I just have a comment. The chair of the town council forwarded me an email from a resident who was disappointed and upset last week when we pre-treated the event that really nothing happened, no snow came down. So I just want to let the public
Yeah,
know.
that was the ice. We were
Yeah.
supposed to get
Yep.
freezing rain. That is something you don't want to mess with. When that's forecasted, if we don't do anything to those roads and it comes as predicted and we didn't do it, we're caught behind the 8 ball. It's going to be a mess out there. So we have buses going out in the morning. That's the last thing we need. We have residents obviously on the road. So we got to trust the forecast, act accordingly. Sometimes that does happen where it doesn't pan out, but we got to err on the side of caution.
Well, I think it's important to mention how it puts the department employees at risk if they don't. We've all seen those YouTube videos of plow trucks going downhill sideways, and once the ice is there, they can't beat it or go there to apply without driving on it, so it puts them at risk too.
Yeah, if we can't get out onto the roads, that's a problem.
Big problem, sure. Thanks for that,
Sure.
for that explanation.
General maintenance stuff, we've had crews out boom mowing the roads, on the side of the roads, clearing sight lines. We redid our mapping for that, so it's more efficient, and we're streamlining things, so while the weather's cooperating, when we're not doing snow, we're doing that, so we have to jump on things before spring, as well as detention ponds. those downtown, the pruning of the trees that are lining Center Street, Liberty Street, North Main Street, keeping up with those. Rec Pond and Panthorn Pond, if anybody has driven through there in the last 2 weeks, we cleared a lot of brush away to make that look more attractive. Took out some silt in Panthorn Pond that was piled up over the last 15 to 20 years. Things look great. As the weather gets better, we'll spruce things up to make it more attractive, but that's a big benefit to the parks. As folks come in and see these areas, we want those looking clean, accessible for folks to fish, to be around there with their kids, etc.
Panthorn Pond looks brand new. It's like a
It does.
different
It's
place.
almost restored back
It's
to the way it
fabulous.
was when it
It's
opened
great.
up. Yep.
Any questions about general maintenance?
Couple other things to mention.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Crescent Lake and Memorial Pond. Crescent Lake is open for ice fishing. Memorial Pond is open for ice skating. We check that daily. There are thresholds we have to be at for safety. We are monitoring those each day to make sure it's safe. That's about it.
I'll be out at Memorial tonight doing triple Lindy's. So, why you laughing, Jim?
I want to see you.
Lots I could do. I could do it. Any other questions for Mr. LaPre?
Well, I just want to comment
Sure.
that I'm happy to hear Panthorn Park was redone. I used to go fishing there as a child, and I know I've mentioned it to Annette before, that needed some attention. And another property, I know it doesn't fall under the parks, but open space, the Curtis Street property, that is, filled with silt as well. So I would be, in favor of trying to find funds, grants and all that to be able to restore that, because it's the maintenance. We have all this beautiful properties and features like, those ponds, but if we don't maintain them, they're not really usable.
And as far as Curtis goes, I did hear, we don't maintain that highway parks, but I did hear that they did clear brush around it, recently.
So,
Yeah, I saw a picture of it, it looks good.
perfect. Step closer, we still out of that one.
Yeah. Any other questions for Mr. LaPre? All right, engineering, Planceville safety improvements.
Thank you. We did receive a check from DOT for $1.382 million. A second partial semifinal inspection with DOT was held on January 23rd to review traffic operations and traffic punch list items, electrical issues. The contractor's working on the December 6th punch list, and the skirts are scheduled to be shipped on the 21st. So we'll get right on them once they are delivered.
Question about those skirts. I know I've spoken with Mr. Norris a couple of times about it.
Yeah.
Do we know that there hasn't been any damage to those light posts before the skirts go on?
As far as I know, they're operational, they're working, the way they're intended to, so I don't believe there's any damage. I don't know if you heard anything.
No, I haven't heard of any damage. I know the skirts are fairly aesthetic, and
Okay.
they're just going to conceal the wiring on the bus underneath.
Okay.
Any concerns with the salt?
I wouldn't have
Exposure.
concerns with the salt. The wiring is coated and it goes inside the unit before the electrical connections.
Okay, great. Thanks. Go ahead, Jim.
Next section, trail.
Trail, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Two remaining items on the punch list, reinstallation of the bollard, one bollard at Lazy Lane intersection and relocation of wood guide rail at Aircraft are the only items left, for that. So I should be receiving a bill which would bring the, retainage down to 2%. So until those items are done and everything's signed off by DOT and their liaison, we'll have retainage money.
You said the wood guardrail at Aircraft?
Yeah, wood guide aircraft, that was identified by Connecticut DEP as far as, the location of it.
Okay. Any update on the Aircraft Road to Plainville line?
That one, we're still working, DOT would like to get closure on coordinating with the railroad, but, we have not reached out to them for a meeting date yet.
So we haven't reached out. What does that mean, that they'll reach out to us when they're ready?
Well, DOT's inquiring when the town wants to meet on it,
Okay.
and and if we've reached out to the railroad. There's still discussions with the railroad.
Okay. I don't want that to fall to the wayside. You know, let's keep that on the
Okay.
front burner, just so, listen, I keep saying it over and over again, we can't control what happens in Plainville. It's gonna come to a dead stop in Plainville anyway till they figure out what they're going to do. I just don't want anyone to say this Southington's holding up the project.
Yep.
Okay. Newell Street.
That's on for local, inland wetlands approval tomorrow night, weather permitting, so that may have to be rescheduled, but, after that, I believe all permits will be in hand. And then they can work on getting, final design documents, submitted.
And that's slated for this summer.
That's like, yep, for bidding in this year.
Great. Marion Avenue Bridge over unnamed brook. My thought is Chaplinsky Brook, but
That one, we've requested a state interagency coordination meeting, and that's gonna be held on March 20th. That's for environmental permits. After that, we'll see what the impacts are that they could submit to local inland wetlands for approval. We are still shooting to have that hopefully in May to bid, and that would be for closure for the summer and open back up to traffic and after Labor Day. Before Labor Day, I should say.
all right. So school gets back in session, okay?
Yep.
Any questions on those two bridges for Jim? Okay, Jim, your last part is the road project list.
Yep, I'm gonna turn it over to David Norris.
Sure.
We're working hard on
Okay.
the road list, which we did hand out with the agenda packet. In preparation of that, we had staff, including from Highway Department, get boots on the ground to get a look at these, roadways. So, again, what we do is we're following the Street Logic program, but in addition to that, we're getting boots on the ground and really taking a look at these roads that are on the list.
Sure. And just before, David, you start, I just want to commend you, Jim, and Mr. LaPre for your hard work these last 6 months or so. I know last year we had some hiccups with regards to getting the list out early enough, and we really appreciate it through the chair of the town council, who really wanted to make sure that this list was out early and looked into, and boots on the ground was the most important. We're not just taking people's words for it, or a machine or a computer's words for it. We want the roads to be walked upon and good information back. So thank you all for your hard work.
Thank you. On that note, Mike, you know, when we got out there and saw the roads that Street Logic had sent us, and as Dave was going through things, there were several on there that didn't need it, you know, that we took off, things that we bumped out in a year or so. So that in itself is key too. Like you said, you can't just go off of the computer, you gotta really get out there and see things, so.
Absolutely. It's a guide that helps prioritize where we go and which ones we're gonna inspect.
Great. Okay, go right ahead, Dave.
So my name is David Norris. I'm the assistant town engineer, and I'm here today to present the 2025 road projects that we have. So just the slide that's been up here, ever since everyone's been in the room, was at the last meeting, but it just shows, you know, we have 210 miles of road, and our average rating based upon the Street Logics program is a 66. That puts us in the fair category. And then this slide, someone asked me what it would look like if we were just doing milling and paving versus the preservation approach that we would like to do. So on the left, you don't see as much color on there. That's representing that under a mill and pave situation, we'd be treating far less roads than the preservation approach, which is on the right. And a little bit closer look at milling and paving alone, we would only hit 23.6 miles of road in 4 years, and that would be under spending the full referendum amount over the 4 years, and we would only get to the 23.6 miles. And that translates to roughly 5.9 miles per year. And under the plan that we are supporting, the preservation approach, we would get to 74.2 miles of roads in the 4 years, and that translates to roughly 18.6 miles per year. And this involves crack sealing, cape sealing, chip sealing, and milling and overlaying. And a new treatment that we're proposing this year was a chip seal. We've used that in the past, and under this plan, we're proposing to bring it back on one street, which if you look at the far northeasterly corner along the reservoir, North Shallow Meadow Road was the street that we had selected for this year. And this one is just showing what 2025 would look like. So the previous slide I'll go back to. This is the 4-year plan. You can see all the roads that are shown over the next 4 years. But right now we're just looking at 2025. So this shows all the different treatments: crack sealing, cape sealing, chip sealing, milling and overlaying, like I was saying. And this year, we'd be approaching 15 miles of road. Previously I'd stated 18.6 average. Some of the later years we would be adding some additional mileage to. And the next couple slides is just the list that was generated in case I had any questions specifically on those, but I don't want to run through all those right now. And then the last one just shows the one street that we're proposing for a rubberized chip seal. And that is a rubberized chip seal, not a conventional chip seal. Many people may have been thinking about years in the past, and that uses a very fine aggregate. It has that feeling where you drive over it and you can hear all the little stones hitting the wheel wells of your car. The rubberized chip seal is a little easier to control, and at the end of the day, it's been swept and it's pretty much back to its regular service at the end of the day. And this last slide here, I just wanted to take kind of all these treatments, because people wonder, like, why are we doing this treatment or that treatment, and a lot of it comes down to what category can it be applied to and how much does it cost. And one of the most common ones is our crack sealing, and that's a routine maintenance item, and that costs about $1 a square yard. However, it is calculated based upon the weight, but if we just want to attribute an average, it's about $1 a square yard. And you'll see 4 different treatments on there that are all for the same range, and that is under our preventative maintenance category. And you can see the rubberized chip seal is on there because we're proposing one street. There's another treatment called microsurfacing, which is what we would like to use as part of our cape sealing treatment, because cape sealing is a 2-step process that involves a chip seal and then a nice smooth surface on top called a microsurface. And by using that treatment, it will help reduce some costs on the cape seal. And there's another one called SAMI, which was used in the past, which is a chip seal with an overlay of HMA on top of it. And it's a great treatment. It's just a little bit more expensive. So our office, we've been running on the thesis, if we can reduce costs, especially in our preventative and reconstruction categories, we can then reallocate the money to our mill and overlay categories, which on that first slide, the largest bar in our backlog was our mill and overlay categories, specifically our 2-inch mill and overlay categories. So we're trying to cut costs and then send that money back into those categories to attack those treatments. And that's what I have for you today. Is there anyone have questions?
For David.
Yes, when was the last time the street scan was done?
2022.
That's right.
We have a quote that I believe is on the agenda for consideration.
Okay. Thanks, Dave.
We also have the amounts of each of those categories, if you'd like, total in the, I believe we're doing about $3.5 million for next year.
Send all of that, if you can, to us, because I'll have to make a report to the town council on Monday night. And after the town council, if they have any questions, we can try to get them answered. After that, we'll have this information and these lists put up on the Southington website. Okay, so it's only fair that the town council can look at it and have any questions that they have answered. I know folks are probably here that want to talk about paving, and you'll have an opportunity just in a few minutes. Just let us get through the other sections of our reports, and then we'll have people up from the public. Okay. Moving on to the water department. Doug, what do you got for us?
Yes, I apologize for my tardiness.
No problem.
Last minute,
Valentine's Day shopping? No?
That goes along with the, on next Monday, we'll be asking the town council to approve a resolution to have the water company enter into a low-interest loan with the DPH under their SRF program. So I was on the phone with some last-minute modifications for that resolution so it could get to the town manager's office by the end of today. So I apologize for being a few minutes late, but it was along those efforts. So yeah, that will be the next step. This is a project where the project came in bid. The bid came in at 3.3 million. We've already previously bonded a few years ago. The water department bonded like $2.5 million for the town in the fall of 21 or winter of 21. Had some design issues, there was a little bit of delay, and costs went up a little bit. Consequently, therefore, we're needed to get some additional funding to do that. So that'll be a great project. This is going to add a redundancy. It's actually one of the most productive, if not the most productive well in the entire state. It's a monster producer, great asset for the town. So we're all looking forward to get that constructed into this year and probably completed next year and online thereafter. Updates on some water main design projects. We're working on a design, two separate projects, but they're going to go out to bid. The projects are structured in such a way we maximize subsidy from the state, DPH, and we'll get right now up to whereabouts 50% subsidy from the state, the way these are structured. So one group of projects will be the Vermont's Oak Street, remaining Oak Street and Academy Lane. And then a separate project will be Berlin Street down to Lacey. And a third component of this will be bid out later in the year, will be down to the Holmesdale, Taunton area. And these are all projects that are both replacing water main that's at the end of its life cycle, but they're really targeted after that gooseneck removal. And therefore we're getting some high subsidies from the state to do that. All this work, again, is going to be 50% subsidized from the state via DPH to help us replace assets and get rid of lead service lines that were installed prior to the 1930s. Other than that, that's the biggest deal is that well 10. We just need the approval to move forward on that. We have a great bid. We have a contractor we've already awarded the project to. Looking forward to get that constructed and in operation for the town.
Doug, can you just clarify, you said Berlin to Lacey. Trying to make
Lacey.
Yeah.
Got it. Trying to make those two roads connect.
They don't connect.
It's not.
Yeah,
Not without a boat.
Sorry, we're not doing anything from the chief's office.
Right. So it's interesting you said that because I had a discussion with Mr. LaPre, and the list that's coming out for the roads, for the most part, is not yet carved in stone because we've got to communicate with the water department because there's no sense paving a road if the water department's going to come out 2 weeks later and rip it up and put in new mains. So there's lots of coordinations between departments to ensure that Eversource isn't coming, this year to rip up a road and put underground wires. We need to be real careful with that. So if everyone that saw the roads, if they could just be patient until we know for sure we're moving forward with these roads, so those other entities are not going to come in and damage what we've already done. So.
Right, but on that note, like a few years ago, it was last year before we did sections of Academy, section of Maryland. That was with the ARPA monies that we got from the town through the ARPA funds. And again, that was in preparation of a public works project to pay that area. And this year, the Vermont's in that area and the remaining of these roads, again, are continuing that effort. And it makes absolutely no sense for the public works to pay these roads until the water department replaces our assets. And unfortunately, it does take a little while to get our funding in place, so there might be a little bit lag in those areas. And we do appreciate the patience of the town, the residents that live in this area, to give us a little extra room to do what's right by the town long term.
Great. Any questions for Doug on his presentation?
No, just happy that the well is moving forward.
What's low interest like these days?
2%.
Awesome. That's
Yeah,
great.
it's great. Yeah.
It's good. That's good stuff. Okay, thanks, Doug. And the members need to discuss anything before I ask folks in the public.
Yes, Mr.
Sure.
Chair.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So I had a constituent reach out in regards to a sidewalk or behind GFK Middle School, making it more accessible for the walkers going to school. I know that we, as a council, put money aside, I believe, towards trying to help increase the walkability.
Is this Buckland? Talking about Buckland Street?
Buckland Street, yeah, Buckland and Mulberry specifically is what they mentioned. So I know that right now Public Works is adding sidewalks near the high school. I don't know how that looks long-term, what the game plan is, but I think our schools, trying to help them in those areas, especially with kids that are walking potentially, should be probably our focal point.
I can speak on that. I believe the chief may be able to as well. Buckland Street is a bus road for that purpose alone. I don't think the road is wide enough to put sidewalks in. But Jim, obviously you can do your due diligence to look into it. But I want to say there's a gentleman that lives on Mulberry or Buckland, and he comes to us at least once every couple of years. And he has a valid concern. It's a busy road, and he's concerned about folks walking on Buckland. But I think the response was always that it's not wide enough to put sidewalks. And that's why it's a bus road, which is interesting because there used to be a fence back there, and you'd be able to walk right through and go to Kennedy Middle School, Kennedy Junior High, what I went, and they closed off that fence area because they don't want folks walking on Buckland because it's a bus road.
Yeah, I know when I went to GFK, the new development, Nunzio, students actually walked, but again, they may have a bus, I just remember them walking.
Yeah, it's a bus road now, for sure, I know that. But whatever, if not, then we can certainly look at it, and I know it's been championed by the town council to add as many sidewalks, especially on school routes, as possible. So let's get some answers and we can report back maybe at the next meeting.
So I had another constituent reach out, and I explained the reason for our meetings, or the time of our meetings, was because town staff is still here. They were a little disappointed because they wanted to attend the meeting, but they couldn't because of the time of the meeting and being at work. So I think it may be a good opportunity, to discuss. I get it that people can't make it, but I requested the town manager to get this meeting recorded so that residents that can't make it, that have a job, could see what happens in the discussion. And it's actually, I think, very important that that happens because a lot of the legwork is done on all the subcommittees, and then it kind of comes to council and it's a recommendation from Public Works, kind of gets, the green light and it kind of moves forward. So on Monday at the council meeting, I plan on mentioning that, to the entire council because, it costs, anyone could request the town clerk to record a meeting, and the fee to the town clerk's office is $100. So this committee meets about 10 times a year. For $1,000, we can make it more open, transparent, and accessible to people that, have, work and picking up their kids and stuff. So I just think it may be great for more transparency and accessibility for residents versus the meeting minutes that aren't verbatim. They kind of just summarize.
You mean audio record them or video record them? It can't be $100 for video.
It's $100 for video. And again, it may not be what costs the town, but that's what they charge. And it's been an ongoing thing for many years of $100. And I confirmed that about a month ago, that it was still $100.
Well, this room's state of the art, planning and zoning, the council.
Certain meetings are easy, yeah.
So we would just have to work it out with Mitch.
Yes, you can get in there.
Perfect. And then to talk a little bit about the preliminary list. Again, I understand it's preliminary, and I sent the town manager an email asking for it to be published on the town's website. And the reason being is the town's website, and we talked about this as the council, we stated that, we were gonna put some information on the town's website about the referendum questions. And, it says, one of the questions that, the town answered to residents that are voting on a $15 million item says, will a list of the roads be published that tells the public what priorities are for the years ahead? Answer is yes, the end of the paving cycle is coming to completion this month in October. Road conditions are dynamic and scanning is only a snapshot in time. As such, the town realizes the digital list needs verification, especially for those roads in poor condition, to ensure proper prioritization So the town will conduct a visual in-the-field reassessment of the current roads list and verify what the top priorities are for next year. This list will be publicly provided as a draft to the Public Works Committee by February 1st, viewable by the public, and a 30-day period for the public to comment will be allowed before the finalizing on March 1st. So today is February 5th, and this list is still not to the public, and we told the public that this is how we were going to handle this. And in my opinion, we're not handling it the way that we advertised. I sent an email to the town manager, and unfortunately the town manager decided not to reply instantly. I get that, it was Sunday. Monday, I sent a follow-up email, still no reply. So when Tuesday, I sent a third email and included our town attorney on it as well, saying I'm trying to find out why this list is not being publicized and is being delayed. I was told Public Works is going to see it first. I do not think there's anything that this board or any commission in our town gets to see before our residents, unless it follows under the executive session rules. You know, we work for our residents, and the second that we are not transparent and open about what we're doing a disservice. It's not what we're supposed to be doing. So at that point in time, the town manager replied, and I quoted this exact thing, and then it still wasn't on the town's website. But guess what? This went missing off the town's website, and I was told that it was housekeeping. Well, how coincidental is it that we can do housekeeping of eliminating something that's on the town's website, but we can't publish this on the town's website? Anybody could FOIA this, so I'm gonna be honest, upset and frustrated that I was ignored as a council member to the town manager. Town manager works for the entire council. I understand we have a chair. The chair's duties is certain things, but it's the entire council. And being on the council, we always stated that we go through the town manager's office. I included Kathy Larkin, our town clerk, because she does all the publishing, and our town manager. I didn't go to any department heads. It's not their job. It's our town managers. So with that being said, I also went out to the Russell Road area. The Russell Road is horrendous. And I could share these photos if any of you guys want to see them. I took photos, and the catch basins, the road is so deteriorated that the catch basins are now recessed into the lawns because the road has failed so badly that, you know, their fescues and their bluegrasses have creeped, because they creep. And it's in the road now, so you can't properly plow these roads. They're not properly being drainaged, so the PCI just keeps dropping, and it says a 43. I think the only reason it states a 43 is because Eversource did a gas main there, I think about 8 years ago, and there's a section that's nice. So I'm guessing the PCI is an average of the road, but there is some bad sections of Russell Road, which I would like to include these in our meeting minutes of, I don't know if you guys want to look at them, but it's pretty bad. And that's,
Jack, I agree with you.
yeah, that road is horrendous. And I get it, there's a lot of roads, but we tell the public that we're gonna do something, then we don't do it. And they're upset, and they have every right to be upset because they voted in favor of something, and then it's not followed by February 1st. And if we didn't have the list, I'd say, okay, delays happen, but when we have it and we're not sharing it, that's not how government should be run.
Any other members have anything to discuss? Okay, we can hear from the public now. Typically, these meetings are recorded, and we have folks come up to the podium, but there's a small group here, so who wants to speak is
I think the gentleman in the front.
Go right ahead, sir.
First. Did you want
Sir,
to-
yeah, just if you can, please just state your name and your address for the record.
Anthony Masucci, 135 Southside Drive, Southington. Mr. Curry, I think that was very good what you just said. Maybe we should get the town more shaped up than it is. I've been here for 83 years, and it's who you know is what you get. Well, let's start changing that and do the job properly. I have quite a few questions, so
Okay, so what we're not gonna do here, unfortunately, is we can't have a back and forth with you. So give us your questions, we'll make sure we have the questions answered, and we can either reach back to you to get it, but what we wanna try to avoid is to try to have any type of a back and forth, because that just will be here all night. Unfortunately, we can't do that.
Well, the first thing I would like to know from the highway department, how many people do you have that are working on the highway department? On the road, not in the office.
With regards to what though? With regards to
With
plowing
regards to,
or paving?
why can't we open the town zone more than just on Saturday? And this would help a lot of traffic on Old Turnpike where people go crazy driving. We must have a lot of highway people, I know we do, and there's a lot of towns that don't have as many as we have, and they're open on the weekdays. I'm not saying all day, but at least maybe 8 o'clock to 12, then they can go for lunch. That's one question.
Okay.
Second question is, like I said, I lived there for 83 years. And I live on Vermont Terrace, and everybody knows, that's the worst road in this town. Vermont Terrace and Vermont Avenue. It has never been fixed in over, I would say, 55 years. And we've had roads that have been fixed for 2 and 3 times in 50 years. I don't think that's fair. If you fix the road once, then let somebody else get their road fixed. Don't keep playing with favoritism. I don't like favoritism.
Even though I said we're not gonna have it back and forth, I will answer that one. The water department's ripping that road up this spring. So we can't pave the road and then have the water department come in and rip it up. Even last year, it would make no sense feasibly, it would not be financially feasibly to pave the road, because I agree with you. That's gonna have to be a reconstruction road. I've driven over it, the complaints have come in. But Mr. Arndt said earlier, that's one of the roads that the water department is going to be doing a lot of work on. I'm hoping this year, the funds are there, right? Is this gonna be happening?
It'll be a state-funded project, but it's currently under design, we go out to bid, within the next 30 to 45 days, and then the full intention is to have it constructed. Again, we won't know until we get the contractor on board. Our intent is to have it constructed before the fall, and, we like to let the road sit for an entire freeze-thaw cycle, so that when paving goes on top of it, you don't have settlement. But I think at this point, the good news is that, there's a direct path to get that whole neighborhood repaved. The bad news is there'll probably be some level of the disruption, in the short term while we do our work. But that's kind of, a road example that we need to do the infrastructure on.
But we don't know when the road is gonna be torn up. It could be
Oh,
this year, it could be next year.
No, well, again, our intent is, the funding's in place. One thing that's not in place is a contractor, and, when we go out to bid, the contractors, need to award the bid. There's a lot of competition out there right now. If you talk to me, I would love to promise you by the fall, but, I can only share our full intent is to get it done by the end of this calendar season. That's what our intent is.
But more likely might not be.
No, there's a very strong likelihood that there would be, but, the construction business right now, particularly with water main, contractors, is very, challenging. There's a lot of water work out there. The contractor that did the Academy Hill and Oak, which was very good from our perspective, I think they were very good with the neighborhood folks. They told us that their 25 paving season they're already bid up. They won't even be able to bid on it, and that was not good news for us. So, stuff like that happens, but biting a situation that is not favorable for the town or for the department to do the work, it will be done this year. With a caveat that if something happens and it's not in the best interest of the town, but that is a yet foreseen forecast. So I understand it's a lot of emotional, a lot of concern, but we are doing our best, and at this point, it's within months away of getting the construction done, and then months away of subsequent paving of your neighborhood, which is good.
So I guess on roads, like Old Turnpike has been done 3 times in the last 50 years. You just don't do it once unless somebody else's road that's bad too, did it first time too. It doesn't matter who's on that road, I guess.
Nope.
Who's special.
That's not fair to say, sir.
Yes, it is.
It's not fair to say. It's not fair to say.
Sir.
Because what happens is over 50 years, a road like Old Turnpike Road is traveled 3,000 times more than Russell Road. I'm not saying that Russell Road doesn't need to get done, okay? But it's a main thoroughfare through the town, so it's gonna deteriorate much faster than a side street. Doesn't matter who lives there. That's not a fair thing to say. What's your next question?
I disagree with you, but that's okay.
We can agree to disagree.
It's free country, so.
It certainly is. Right.
Yeah. But I think I'm right and you're wrong.
Well, I'd agree with you, sir, then we both be wrong.
Right.
Go right ahead.
I don't know who's in charge of the lights on the poles around town, but on, Brownstone, South World Road in town, the lights have been on 24 hours a day for 2 years that I know of. Cause I moved from Vermont. Terrace, I couldn't live there anymore. So I wish somebody would check those lights and.
What was the road again? South?
South Broad Drive.
South Broad Drive?
Yeah, it's been on for 2 years that I know of.
During the day too?
24 hours a day.
That's not good.
We can take complaints for that in here.
Yep, well, we can just, if we know it now, just, let's look into it. We shouldn't have a light pole on during the day.
We'll check that out.
Well, I know the highway goes up there a lot, but I guess they don't report those things. Maybe the highway department should inform that they see something wrong. They should give you a call or something. For 2 years, I figured I'd let you know.
Anything else?
Now, right now, seeing I can't get Vermont Terrace done.
It'll get done,
it won't-
I assure you.
Believe me, no. I know, I lived there for, you know,
83 years, God bless you.
Buddy, and believe me.
God bless you, that's great.
Yeah, it won't.
You look very good for 83 years old. So.
No, don't favor me up.
Who else has something to say? Yeah, go right ahead, man.
Thank you. It's a little late in the day, so I'm gonna have a hard time projecting, so I'm gonna use the microphone if that's
Of
okay.
course, yeah, no problem.
My name is Dr. Laura Triano. I was born, raised, and educated here in town, and in the interest of full disclosure, I'm not related to anyone who has held or currently holds an elected or appointed position with the town of Southington, and I'm not related to any staff in the town departments relevant to this committee's scope of work. I currently reside at 61 Russell Road in Milldale and have done so for the past 9 years. 3 of my neighbors are also here this evening, 2 of whom I believe have lived on Russell Road for well over 40 years. There you go. And can attest to the poor conditions of the road, which is a long-standing issue. For those unfamiliar, Russell Road is located between 2 heavily traveled state roads, and despite being less than a quarter of a mile long, receives a disproportionate amount of cut-through traffic, including from tractor-trailer trucks, that has compounded the wear and tear on a road that, like many others in town, is long overdue for a proper repair.
Hello.
I'll reserve specific comments about the prioritization of Russell Road until the town